Hi, my friends. It's Saturday. It's hard to believe we're closing out March and entering into April next week. Man, this time has flown. It's good to see you up on Facebook, and I'm hoping to see more of you join me. Um, Listen, I have a question for you. Are you longing? Are you longing to find your way back to some sense of normalcy as you see it or have experienced it before COVID-19? How are you doing in the midst of it? There is no normal here for us. Although it's hard to define normal because that's a subjective term really. But what are you longing for at this time? I am Pastor Connie Weiss. I'm a friend to many. I'm a mother of two and a wife to a wonderful husband. I have siblings, but I'm also the pastor of Christ Lutheran Church in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We are a church that went through a major change ourselves a year ago and sold our big church building. Hi, Janet. We sold our church building and downsized and moved into a community center. Over 2 weeks ago, I realized that we could not meet together for we would be vulnerable in this public space. And so we've been doing this online communications, this online worship, these online devotions, connecting and finding fellowship with each other in this way. But are you longing for something familiar? Are you longing for a time, a place in which you would call home the way you used to do things, the familiar, the church you would go to on Sunday mornings, perhaps the workplace, perhaps meeting with friends, going out to a restaurant? Was this home to you weeks ago? And are you longing for it today? I'll tell you, I decided to read from Ezekiel today. He was a prophet who found himself away from home himself and also had strong words for the Israelites and what they were experiencing as they found themselves exiled and longing for home. So the passage I've chosen is from Ezekiel 36, verses 8 through 15, and I'm going to read from the Message translation. So here we are. But you, mountains of Israel, will burst with new growth, putting out branches and bearing fruit for my people, Israel. My people are coming home. Do you see? I'm back again. I'm on your side. You'll be plowed and planted as before. I'll see to it that your population grows all over Israel, that the towns fill up with people, that the ruins are rebuilt. I'll make this place teem with life, human and animal. The country will burst into life, life and more life. Your towns and villages full of people, just as in the old days. I'll treat you better than I ever have, and you'll realize that I am God. I'll put people over you, my own people, Israel. They'll take care of you, and you'll be their inheritance. Never again will you be a harsh and unforgiving land to them. God the Master says, because you have a reputation of being a land that eats people alive and makes women barren, I am now telling you that you'll never eat people alive again or make women barren. Decree of God the Master. And I'll never again let the taunts of outsiders be heard over you, nor permit nations to look down on you. You'll no longer be a land that makes women barren. Decree of God the Master. Okay, my friends, well, I picked this for a very good reason. We all need words of hope, don't we? This is back in the day when the people of Judah had found themselves, the people in the southern kingdom had found themselves taken over by Babylon and were exiled there. They were living in a foreign land. They were deported, and they knew what it was like to be separated from all those things that were familiar. They yearned for it. And I see a correlation for us today. What do you yearn for? Hi, Kim. Hi, Tina. Miss you, ladies. Good to see you. I can't tell you the many conversations I'm having in these days, busier than ever, not only with congregation members, but family and friends, yearning for a time that was more predictable, perhaps, what they were anticipating as safer for themselves and their family, a place where they could count on with a schedule, going to work, coming and going to do going out to dinner. I know my dad called the other day and said, "Are you running into town to the grocery store?" And I said, "Listen, we just can't do that anymore." He says, "Well, I'm used to having pizza on Fridays. And if my dad sees this, we did get you pizza." But we weren't equipped for it, were we? If we didn't stockpile things, we found ourselves running short and feeling fearful about that. So what are you yearning for this day? What are you hoping for? Are you grasping for it, looking for it? I can tell you, I am relating to this reading today because the people of Judah were able to return. Once the Babylons were defeated, they were able to return to their land. Now, did everything go back to normal? Not so much. But there was the hope of that, and there was some kind of return. The thing is, we're still in that state. We're in a state of exile right now. Maybe we find ourselves in our home like me, and in my home more than often than not. Although I got out in my car and I've been able to do some walks, home is my world. But my world is through you too, and in this wonderful world of online communications and online worship and a time of devotion. Listen, exile, I'm learning, comes from us ourselves. We exile ourselves. We pull ourselves away from the comfortable, and the comfortable comes with God. I have learned that I don't have to be home or in a normal way in which I have accustomed myself to be. When you think about it, Jesus never really truly had a physical earthly home. He was wandering from site to site, visiting people, and his definition of home was with God. A home not totally realized even for Jesus when he walked on the earth, not until he ascended. Jesus brought God to us, home, a sense of normal, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of being filled and no longer longing and yearning and feeling empty. We can take a lesson from this, that we ourselves feel this time of exile anytime we pulled away from God. We see this with the first creation story when Adam and Eve in their story, where they no longer trust God and they rely on their own sense of what is right and wrong, perhaps, not trusting that God's got their back. So the thing is, to me, that I don't have to feel like I'm exiled. I don't have to feel like I'm alienated from my friends and family, and definitely not alienated from God, the God who cannot be limited to a sanctuary, a God who cannot be limited to certain people and places. No, a God for everyone. And we know this through Jesus, who came to this world to be with us. The prophet who kept us and the people back then connected to God and God's word and God's wisdom and spoke for God, telling people, do not fear. This is the way we need to stay connected to God, and good things will come our way. Does that mean that if we try to and work to stay connected with God this day, that things will be just as they were? Absolutely not. I believe there will be a new normal for us, whatever that may be. But this way of connecting with God will bring us home as we were meant to be home. Not exile, but home, feeling a sense of security as home provides for us. A sense of relationship as family and friends supplies us with. Those family and friends we cannot touch right now, but maybe through Facebook and through phone are connected with people we love. This is what it means to be home and not exiled, not separated, is to be connected with God through Jesus Christ, knowing that God makes a home in us, God in the Spirit, that we can feel secure, but also provide that sense of home and belonging to others by the way we are with them. So if you're feeling a little out of sorts, hey, I don't blame you. It's frustrating, isn't it? It's frustrating feeling disconnected from the things we're used to doing. Hi, Barb. But I'm learning. I'm learning to depend on God even more, to trust God, to be with me here in my midst, and to also share that word of hope, that home is where God is. Kind of like they said, home is where the heart is. Hi, Mark. Glad you have joined in. Be sure to give me a thumbs up or a heart or whatever, and let's get the word out that we are not to be considering ourselves as exiled people, but totally at home with God now, even in the midst of our frustrating times, our challenging times. The one thing I have to tell people is Easter services, Holy Week services, they will happen in this way also. Hi, Kip. Good to see you. Give me a thumbs up or what is it, a wow emoji. I'm told this will help spread the good news. I'm learning about Facebook even more. We don't have to feel separated from each other even in this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the good word out. As pastor of Christ Lutheran Church offering our services, we're doing a Facebook Live for this Sunday at least, Facebook Live at 9:30, Christ Lutheran Church Facebook page from Oshkosh. If you want to join us live at 9:30, we're also having a coffee hour through Zoom. It's a technology that I will be inviting people to click on a link on Facebook and join us at 10:30 on Sunday. And then there is a Bible study we'll be doing through Zoom also, where you can join us in community at 11:30 on Monday to join us in Bible study. I'll put out the link for that particular meeting, and that will be every Monday at 11:30. That link will be on Facebook and also on email. So if you feel like you'd like to send me your email address, I'll include you in that mailing also. Here's the deal. We have the capabilities. God has supplied us with people who have many gifts, those who have created online resources for us, this technology we enjoy. Just like we should be listening to the scientists and doctors and the medical professionals today, God has applied those people to give us the wisdom to know whether or not we should be gathering. We should trust the gifted people God has given us. And I trust God, so I'm going to trust the internet. I'm going to try to make use out of it to reach out to you and say hello. And people are reaching out to me to give me encouraging words. I'm so thankful for community, my friends. I hope you learn to reach out and not be intimidated by this time, even if it's just making a phone call. People need to hear from each other. People need to hear what you're doing with your day. Soon I'll be also publicizing some great stories of people from my congregation who are doing incredible things in the midst of this challenging time. One lady is doing Meals on Wheels for the elderly she knows of. Another gal who sells Arbonne is packaging up Arbonne products and putting them in nursing homes throughout Oshkosh. There's another wonderful gal, Sue, and I just spoke with her, and she sews purses, and she is an amazing seamstress, sewer, or whatever you call them. She is making face masks for people, face masks that perhaps work better than what we could get in the hardware store. So I need to hear these stories too, because this can be a productive time for us. As perhaps we're feeling exiled, we are actually doing great things because perhaps you have let God find a home in your heart. And the familiar is in the relationship you have with God and the relationships we have with each other. Our hope lies, of course, in Jesus Christ, by what God has done for us through this amazing, amazing Savior who lived among us shared our pain, and then died for us, and then rose again to say, this is your future, life forever, not life without, in this time, without its challenges, but already a life, a home everlasting, realized now with a living God who lives in us. Love it and love you too, Mark. I'm going to do this as long as I can. And doing some more Bible study myself to help fill me. Help spread the word, my friends. And if you do not have a church home, know that Christ Lutheran Oshkosh, we will be Facebook Live this week. And then in the future, we'll be putting our Holy Week services on Facebook as we learn to do things creatively to include many others. Good to see you, Paula. Thank you. Ezekiel 36, I encourage you to read the chapter. If you want to learn about the prophets and about the ancient Israelites, they found themselves in challenging times. Oh my goodness. Look at ancient Israel in its challenging times when they left this land of Egypt in slavery and wandered for 40 years. Talk about exile. Hey, God's people are not without its wilderness moments. And if we call this a wilderness moment, we're being truthful because it comes with pain. Sometimes we go without. But listen, there are blessings. And I'm going to try to lift up those blessings, and I hope you can look for those too. Look for the blessings, my friend, and then share the story. Share it with me, share it with the world. The world needs to know that as disconnected as they're feeling, scared as they're feeling. Boy, I was watching the news last night. The stimulus package, that's a hopeful message. But there are also messages of people, whether they're in New York or other populations where they are without work, they are trying to survive without paychecks. They are really scared. This is a time people need messages of hope. And when practical things can be done for them, I encourage you to find ways to do that. But trust that God has found a home in your heart. And if that is so, if you have opened your heart to let God in and trust that things are going to be okay, even in the midst when things are not always right for you, that perhaps you can find joy in this day. You can get new creative ideas for being in the world. And when we find ourselves coming back again and gathering and congregating physically, well, maybe we're the better for it. I can already see this, the world opening up through the internet. I can already see that our congregation, the small congregation of Christ Lutheran, is becoming blessed with people from all over the world because we're connected in a better way. God always opens doors, my friends. May you trust God and then be blessed with holy imagination to live in this day better than you've ever been before. And listen, if it's not good for you right now, reach out. You have me on Facebook too. Some of you have my cell phone number, which is on our Facebook page. Reach out to me and I'd be happy to listen because I know what it's like to have friends who listen to me. May the peace that passes all understanding rest in your minds and hearts this day, just for this day alone. And maybe I'll see you Sunday morning for worship, coffee hour, or on Monday for our Bible study. But stay tuned, my friends. This is Connie Weiss, Pastor Connie to some, and I wish you a blessed Saturday. God be with you.